This video is going to be about traveling to Colombia in 2022 with all the new restrictions. So I'm going to explain to you all you need to know regarding traveling into Colombia. So if you have a trip coming up, this video is going to be for you. I just got back from Colombia, so I'm going to be telling you about my experience flying into the country. I'm going to break this video up into 3 parts like I did the video about traveling to Dominican Republic. The first part is going to be traveling into the country. The second part is going to be restrictions while I was in the country. And the third part is going to be traveling out of Colombia and coming back into the US. I'm also going to do a quick summary. So for those who are in a rush and do not want to watch the entire video, I'm also going to quickly summarize it for you. But before I get into that, I want to thank every single person who has subscribed to my channel so far. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every single one of you guys. I am at 480 subscribers. By the end of the year, I want to hit 5,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe, fuck with your boy. And I need to go hella hard on this channel in order for me to hit my goal. But that's what I'm going to be doing. So with that being said, let's get into the summary. Part 1, traveling into Colombia. You need to fill out the immigration form. You need to be vaccinated and have a physical or digital vaccine card. Or if you're not vaccinated, you need to have a negative COVID test to fly into Colombia. Part 2, restrictions while I was in the country. There's pretty much no restrictions out there. Your boy was partying till 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. Sun going up. I'm still having a blast. So there's no restrictions out there. Part 3, traveling back into the US. You need to have a negative COVID test before you fly back into the US, and it needs to be done within a day of your flight. So the day before your flight, you need to have a negative COVID test. So you need to get tested, and it needs to be a rapid test so you get the results back on time. And you need to fill out the immigration form to leave the country. That's the quick summary. If you want to know more details, watch the entire video. Part 1, traveling into Colombia. There's really 2 things that you need to know before your trip. Number 1, and this is going to be the most important thing, you need to be vaccinated or have a negative COVID test to enter the country. So that means that you need to show proof of vaccination. You need to have the physical vaccine card or a digital version. A picture will not work. If you lost your vaccine card, get it replaced or get a digital version online. If you live in New York, I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can get a digital copy of your vaccine card. If you live in another state, try going online, Google it, and get a digital copy of your vaccination card. If you're not vaccinated, that's fine. You just need to have a negative COVID test, and it needs to be done within 48 hours of your flight. Remember that. The second thing that you're gonna need, and this is super simple, you need to fill out the immigration form, which is gonna be done online. This is gonna be the first link in the description. Click on the link, make sure that you have it on arrivals. I'm gonna show you what it looks like on the screen. Hit continue, and it's gonna ask you for first name, last name, where you're gonna be staying at, your passport information, do you have more than $10,000 in cash, things like that. Super simple. If you have traveled before, then you should be used to doing this before every flight. But make sure you have that done. Once you complete the form, you are going to get an email. Take a look at the email and make sure that the information on the email is correct, like your name, passport, and your flight. Make sure that the information is correct. You don't have to present this email to anybody, but the information is going to come up in their system once you speak to the immigration officer. So make sure that the information is correct. So those are the 2 things that you need to know before your flight. Besides that, everything is going to be like normal. So my trip, it looks something like this. I got to the airport, got online, I checked in for my flight. That's when the lady asked me for my vaccination card. So that's going to be the first time that you have to present your vaccination card or your negative COVID test is while you're checking in for your flight. So I showed her that, then I checked in my bag. After checking in my bag, I went through TSA. After going through TSA, then I went to the gate, and then I got on my flight. After landing in Colombia, I got on the immigration line, and right before speaking to the immigration officer, somebody asked me for my vaccination card. So that's going to be the second time that they ask you for your vaccination card. So the first time is going to be at the first airport, and the second time is going to be right before speaking to an immigration officer after you land in Colombia. So I showed them my card. Good to go. They took a quick look. Then I went to speak to the immigration officer. The immigration form that I filled out before, all that information came up in the system, and I was good to go. If you have any questions about traveling into the country, leave them in the comment section below. Now let's move on to part 2, restrictions while I was in Colombia. At this point in time, there are no restrictions. There was no curfew. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I was partying till 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. No curfew whatsoever. Throughout my whole trip, I wore a mask 3 times. At the airport was one, and even at the airport it was a little funny. Like I was taking it off and nobody said anything about it. The only time where I had to wear a mask was on the plane, where they were pretty strict about it. The second place was at the supermarket. This is the supermarket in Colombia. It's called Éxito. They have them all over the place. That was the second time where I had to wear a mask. And in there, they were pretty strict about it. Like they won't allow you to come in without a mask. And the third place was at the casino. And the casino was a little funny. It's one of those places where you have to wear a mask to walk into the building. But after you take a couple steps inside, you can take it off without a problem. And there was one time where I walked into the casino and the security guard told me to put my mask on. I took it out of my pocket and he let me go through, and I never put it on. Those are the only 3 places where I had to wear a mask. Besides that, I did not wear a mask anywhere. From what I saw, for the most part, people are not worrying about COVID out there. So the restrictions are pretty loose at the moment. If you have any questions about the restrictions, leave them in the comment section below. Now let's move on into the final part, which is going to be traveling back into the US. So leaving Colombia and coming back into the US. 2 things that you need to know. The most important thing is you need to have a negative COVID test to fly back into the US. This test needs to be done within a day of your flight. It doesn't need to be within 24 hours. It needs to be done within a day. So if you get it the day before, it's fine. If you get it the same day of your flight, that's also fine. Make sure that it is a rapid test, because if you get a PCR test, you will not get the results back on time. I got tested at the airport in Medellin, and it cost me 95,000 Colombian pesos, which is about $23. And I got the results in like an hour or 2, and they sent it via WhatsApp. So remember, within a day of your flight, a rapid test, and you'll be good to go. The second thing you need to do is fill out the immigration form again. This time is going to be departing, so make sure you click on departure from Colombia. Fill out the information again. You're going to get an email. Make sure that the information on the email is correct, and you'll be good to go. For me, it looks something like this. I got to the airport in Colombia. They asked me for my negative COVID test. I showed them my test. I got on the line. Once I got on the line, there was like a little interview. They were asking me questions about my trip, make sure I wasn't doing anything crazy in Colombia. After they asked me a couple questions, then I checked in for my flight, checked in my bag, got online to speak to the immigration officer. Once you get a chance to speak to them, the information is going to be in the system already. Once you're done with that, then you go through security, and then you can head to your gate and you're good to go. If you have any questions about traveling into Colombia, leave them in the comment section below. So to recap, the most important things you need to know is you need proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test to enter the country, and to return back into the US, you are going to need a negative COVID test within a day of your flight. And at this point in time, there is no restrictions in Colombia. And if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching the entire video. Peace.